2.
Hey, welcome to Barbershop Stories, the podcast, episode 137. Last week was great. The week before that was great. The week before that was great. But this one may be just a little greater. Now, she don't need no introduction, but it would be right if we give them. State representative, mayoral candidate, city stepper, event put on.
He said event put on.
You know what I'm saying?
What in the world is
an event put on?
Make it make sense. Benny said event put on. Okay.
Yeah. That means you put on events. You put on good things. Is that not true?
Y'all see this shirt?
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense to everybody.
Yeah, so without further ado, y'all give it up and clap your hands, stomp your feet. Make sure you share the page. Make sure you like the page. Make sure you let everybody know what's going on. And we're gonna ask some serious questions. We're gonna talk a little talk, because this thing is about a serious commitment to leadership, to our city, to our communities, and we got none other than the legendary Wonderland Gavan. Hey,
yes, ma'am.
What's going on?
I did not know that I had been promoted to legendary. Make it make sense. Michael Bynes. Make it make sense, brother. Make it make sense, everybody. Thank you, Benny, for giving me all of those titles.
Yeah, so I am comedic narrator, the haircut Schlanger Benny Mac, and that gentleman over to my left is.
Yeah, I'm Sammy No Nose. We keep that info for you.
That's right.
And we're gonna talk Birmingham today.
That's right. And
Birmingham.
A whole lot of Birmingham. We gonna make it. Now we're gonna start off just like this here. Make it make sense. Who is Wonderland Gavan?
Okay, everybody just told me that I have been on mute. Now, Benny, I know you don't want to do this.
What we gonna do?
But you got to redo my introduction the right way so all my people on my page can hear me real quick.
So
make it make sense.
You talking about the folks that came in late?
No, they were messages saying they could not hear. So we make it make sense.
Okay. All right, well, I'll do it one more time, and then the slight drum roll. All the way from the west side of town. Some say Forestdale, some say unincorporated, some say the west side of Birmingham, some say state representative, some say event coordinator put it together.
And we have an answer for all of that tonight.
And mayoral candidate.
Make it make sense.
The legendary lady of the hour, of the year, of the day, right here on Barbershop Stories Podcast, episode 137. Y'all give it up for Wonderland Gavan.
Gavan, yeah. That's better. So now everybody can hear. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear. So now I'm here at the Benny Mac Barbershop Stories. I am nervous. I am between two men. I did not know I would be between two men, but I feel protected on this side. I don't know so much about this side, but we're going to have a good time here. I'm excited to be here to answer all these tough questions, even to respond to some of the things that you mentioned in my intro.
Okay.
So let's go.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll start off. Who is Wonderland Gavan? Who is she? Who is this woman that would say that this woman that this mysterious mystique?
And that is so interesting that you said that, because I'm first of all, I'm not mysterious. Okay. It is amazing though, since running this race, here I am, a 4-term legislator. Here I am, have worked for Richard Arrington, Bell, and Kincaid. Was one of the last 2 lawyers to handle the case of Mayor Larry Langford, God rest his soul. I am one of the most interviewed elected officials in the state of Alabama. But what is so amazing is, since I've been running this race, every day I'm getting someone saying, why, how are you qualified? Why are you qualified? Who are you? Where have you been? This, that, and the other. At the end of the day, I'm like, make it make sense. This is foolery. Google me, number one. But with that being said, my father is named Leroy. He passed almost 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. September 28th of this year will be 10 years. So I am Leroy Gavan and Patricia's daughter, the daughter of a coal miner. I graduated from Minor High School. I lived in Wylam. I have lived in Inslee. I have properties in multiple places, but the state law says, and this is the state law. Mm-hmm. So for all of the geniuses out there, 90 days prior to a municipal election, 90 days prior to, although I have a place, I had a place in advance of 90 days, lease, power bill, cable bill, everything. And it's a very nice place downtown. But at the end of the day, make it make sense. Why somebody would say, well, I live downtown and I have been living there. It is verifiable. My neighbors know I've been there. As a matter of fact, I entered into a lease agreement on December 31st, even before I made my announcement, because I knew that the haters were going to be chasing me. And I said that when I allowed Fox News to come into my office, as well as AL.com to come in to interview me at my home. But the law, Benny Mac, let's talk about the law. Okay. The law is clear. It says that a person must make residence within 90 days prior to the election. No differently than with my election as a legislator, it's 1 year. Well, I, again, didn't want no problems. So I went, and not only entered into a lease, I not only stay there every night, I not only enjoy it, but I was downtown so much anyway, because most of my friends, my family members. So with that being said, miss me with that, make it make sense, because the question should be to the people, for the folks who have said they've been in Birmingham, what have they been doing? Number one, what have they done in the last 4 years with all the high crime? What have they been doing for the last 4 years with regards to the brush, litter, trash, and debris? Make it make sense, Birmingham. Make it make sense.
Well, we can make it make sense right here on Barbershop Story tonight. You know, those are good questions that you asked. What has been going on with people who's already been in place? But you know, we want to hear their stories, of course, but we're here to
talk about me.
Talk about you, and we want to know what you have in place to, I guess what we can say is see to all that stuff being done, or see to the best interest of the residents of Birmingham being satisfied, or at least compensated wouldn't be the word, needs to be fulfilled.
A plan of action. Listen, first of all, I thank you for that. Because you're right. We're here to talk about me. It seems to be a lot of talk about me. That's number one in this election. It's fine with me. I mean, hey, for whatever reason, I have become the hot topic from radio station to radio station to radio station. So make it make sense, Birmingham. I am intentional in this race. You asked me who I was. I will tell you, and I'm going to tie it all in. I am a strong Black woman. I am an intelligent Black woman. I am a great person. I am a friend. I am a sister, but I'm a graduate of Miles College. I am also a graduate of Miles School of Law. Listen, not only Miles School of Law, I have worked in the state of Alabama as an attorney. I represent the Alabama Education Association. I am a union lawyer. I worked with one of the best lawyers in the state of Alabama. Listen, at the end of the day, I have worked for the city. I just went and filmed at Kenworth Trucking off Finley Avenue. That project was Wonderland Gavan. The privatization of our zoo, Wonderland Gavan. Listen, facts. I am going to give you facts. I've been in the legislature for 4 terms, now 15 years. One of the highest sponsored bill carriers in the state of Alabama, verifiable. Legislator of the Year by the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. Legislators of the Year just last year by the National Caucus of State Legislators, one of the Reason Foundation. Very storied in my own right. But what bothers me in answering this question to tie it in, talk to me about my platform. Stop telling me that I'm not qualified. Stop coming at me about this and that. Nobody in this election cycle outside of me, I'm talking about a serious platform. We know crime is high. We know 1,000 people, 1,000 people over the course of the last 8 years died to gun violence. We know that there's dilapidation in our neighborhoods. We know that there's paper. We know that there's grass. We know that the city of Birmingham does not have but right at 300 and something sworn law enforcement officers. We also know that the Public Works Department only has roughly between 450 and 500 plus employees. We know that this city has 99 neighborhoods, 23 communities. But we also know that those 99 neighborhoods and 23 communities do not represent those who live outside of uptown, downtown, and the south side. Give or take one or two nicer communities. We know that Birmingham has not had a housing development built in over 10 to 15 years since Oxmoor, and a portion of Oxmoor is in the cutoff. Make it make sense. So my plan A is to address also, we know homelessness is on the rise. We know that city services right now just absolutely suck. We know that people can barely get through to the 311 call center. We know that there are over X amount of employees at the city of Birmingham that make over $200,000, but yet we cannot give our neighborhood associations but $2,000 a year when they used to get $10,000. Make it make sense, Birmingham. So my plan, thank you for asking, is this. Operation 122. That is the 23 communities, 99 neighborhoods. 23 communities, 99 neighborhoods. Larry Langford did a 23 for 23. The first 23 days, he cleaned up 23 communities. I am going to couple that with 99 neighborhoods, 23 communities. Operation 122. Next, homelessness. My plan is a simple plan. It is called Friends in Transition. We're going to work and we're going to re-engage social service agencies right here in Birmingham. The city of Birmingham cut funding some years ago, over 8 years ago. They just started slashing those social service agencies to handle and address homelessness. Make it make sense. Why are we engaging right now with a company that's from out of town? Make it make sense. So we deal with the homeless crises, but that has to be coupled with community and supportive services to assist these folks. A lot of these folks are on drugs. A lot of them are veterans. A lot of them have had all types of issues. And there are people who literally choose, Benny, to be homeless. That's just the bottom line. When we did away with the railroad cars that's in the area of Railroad Park, a lot of the homeless lived in those railroad cars. But after they moved those cars and after the cuts were made to Jimmy Hill Mission and the Firehouse, all of these other agencies, what you got? But also the biggest issue is Birmingham has become a dumping post for the homeless. They know, as a young lady I spoke with 2 weeks ago, she said Birmingham is like a country without a president because nobody's going to arrest us. Nobody's going to do anything. This is on record. She said this on video. Nobody's going to do anything. And then she also said the community and supportive services that they need, they can't get unless you're a battered woman, unless you have children, and a list of other things. So we've got to address the homeless crises. But also, and then I'll take a quick breather, not just Friends in Transition. We're going to do an Operation Clean Sweep of these streets. We're going to fill these potholes. We're going to fix these raggedy crack roads because you have citizens like you and like you who are in a position in which simply this, they're tearing up their tires. And if you can already only make ends meet, and then you have to fix a tire and you're paying $700, $800, $900, and heaven forbid, if it is a vehicle, foreign vehicle or what have you, you're out of $2,000. I tore my car up a year or so ago on a city street. I literally didn't want to file an affidavit, but I went ahead on because at this point I'm out of $3,000. Make it make sense. So those are just some of the things, but also we're going to find something to do for our children. Look at our neighborhoods. Everybody's now jumping up at the city talking about the fun center. One fun center, 196,000 people almost, give or take. I wouldn't want to have to come from Roebuck. I wouldn't want to have to come from Airport Hills to drive all the way, skip 20 more neighborhoods and communities, rather, skip over and go to 5 Points. Make it make sense to the Crossplex. We need to stop it. We need to invest this money back in our neighborhoods, and we need to invest in our children. Now, there's a thing now that some of the pools are open. Well, it wasn't until I started raising all this hell that some of the pools are open. But guess what? After July 4th, for all intents and purposes, summer is over. So now, for the ones that are not up and running, make it make sense that Hoover, Homewood, Vestavia, Mount Brook, Irondale can hire lifeguards, but the city of Birmingham can't. Make it make sense.
So let me ask you this one. Do you think that it's intentional that these some are urban communities or some are communities suffer, or do you think it's lack of resources or lack of vision?
I think it's a lack of it has to be a lack of vision. I think it's a lack of vision for the mere fact, and I stand boldly by this. First of all, I could not be a mayor and drive past this filth in the city of Birmingham, drive and go home, passing by the folks that's when you get off the interstate, homeless. I'm driving in from court today, Judge Hobley's courtroom. I'm driving in, a gentleman standing right off the interstate, off 5th and 11th, just urinating, broad daylight. Who wants to see that getting off the interstate? Make it make sense. Who wants to see people literally defecating, using the bathroom? This lady going down Reverend Abraham Woods Boulevard just a few days ago, pulled her pants down, urinated right there on Richard Arrington Boulevard, now right down from City Hall, right near Social Security, pulled her pants up. Another one went to Crab Barracks over by the Crossplex, by Domino's. You know where it is. I go in, a young lady was out there. You could tell she was waywardly. She was asking for money. I engaged with her for a second. By the time I went in the door, I could hear the manager saying, "Oh my God, I wish he had just asked to come in and use the bathroom." Well, he has customers sitting there eating. Young lady pulls her clothes down right there and urinates. Pull her pants back up and continued asking for money. Make it make sense.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Realistic question. Somebody would ask the question that, okay, you got a homeless problem. Now, it's always going to be homeless. Even the Bible said the poor is always going to be among
Exactly.
them. What really could you do to curb that?
First,
I don't say stop it, but to curb it. What would Wonderland Gavan do different from any other mayor that we done had?
First of all, I'm going to address it, and I'm going to address it right off the bat. People are tired because the problem now with the homeless crisis in Birmingham, that is a little bit different than in some other urban areas, is that the people are coming to a central location. They are getting off the interstates, and they're walking into Ensley. They're walking into West End. They are walking into the North Birmingham area. They are walking even now on the east side of town. They are going into these neighborhoods and squatting. That is very dangerous when you're dealing with people who probably have mental illness. Some of them are probably those who have been convicted of crimes. All of those things. So that means now everywhere you go, someone is living in your neighborhood and they're squatting in these abandoned houses for which land bank is obviously not working like it should be working. But also with that, they are living in these houses, which is a danger to our elderly. You have many of these communities where the lighting is so poor in Birmingham. And some neighborhoods now, it is so dim and dark that you have elderly people in a lot of these neighborhoods, especially on the west side, where it may be one elderly, two elderly, and then 4 or 5 abandoned houses, and the street is almost pitch black dark, poor lighting. And then now these people who are just coming in. I was at a church today, and what am I going to do? Let me answer this question first. What am I going to do? I'm going to jump ahead of it. They're coming off the streets. Even if I have to figure out a way to put one of these school buildings back on the roll, but they're coming off the streets because at the end of the day, they may have all of these issues. But guess what? The people who live in these communities, they own their homes. If they don't own their homes, they pay rent. If they pay rent, that is their choice to live there in harmony and in peace. And there is a code section 1145, I think -1 of the code section that empowers municipalities. Now, counties don't have the same level of power, but empowers municipalities to go onto these properties to do whatever they need to do for the harmony, peace, safety, cleanliness, and the inhabitants of that neighborhood. That is state law. So that excuse that the city can't go on the property, that's a lie. If that nobody can do anything, that is a lie. And I'm telling you all, it is a lie. Listen, y'all start reading, paying attention. At the end of the day, stop looking at the caption and read the whole article in the newspaper. Make it make sense, Birmingham.
You say it's law, but about the squatters, I want to roll back to that. And first of all, I want to address you first person I ever heard say crab barrack, right? You know, people usually say crab barrack.
Barrack. I know, right? You know, we
got to address that.
We had these.
It ain't crab barrack, it's crab barrack.
We had these French Birminghamians around here, you know.
So you might get my vote just for pronouncing that word right.
Crab barrack.
The mispronunciation of words that got out of hand out here. But
make it make sense. Make it make sense.
But the squatters, we work in the barbershop, and you know we're in the neighborhood where a lot of that is, you know, just so happen to be going on between Woodlawn, Eastlake, Avondale, Kingston, you know, different areas around here with the abandoned houses and people going in and out of them. You see nobody lives there, but somebody occupies them. What's you know, give us some of your legal expertise on that, as well as how can we deal with that from a citizen standpoint, and how would you deal with it from a mayoral standpoint, being able to change some of this stuff that goes on with
the first thing I'm going to respond ASAP. I was just in the Bellevue neighborhood just a few weeks ago. I sat down with a homeowner, and one of the things that they talked about, because this story actually was on the news, where there was this woman who was squatting in a house, because I can't remember if the person had passed away or lived out of town. Literally, so they hammered home so much so they called the media. That drew media attention. But what was disheartening for them is that the response from the city of Birmingham was no response. And it wasn't until they just kept on continuing to apply the pressure that they were finally able to get this woman who had literally taken over the home of another. And let me tell y'all better start paying close attention to your neighborhoods. Y'all driving in these fine houses. I know I'm talking about the people that are in Birmingham, and not even just in Birmingham. They're all over. They are all over. You see people walking all night long. Prostitution. It's so bonkers with the prostitution that I now have women calling me because they are saying they are sick of going to their businesses. They can't even go get gas. They hate to go to the Chevron service station or the Shell. But this whole thing on the squatting, I want to be clear on something. Today I did a film. I videoed a live with Pastor Darrell Warren. He is the pastor of New St. James off Fifth Avenue between 4th and 5th downtown. Sunday, this man, church was over. He's moving about just as he normally does. Just as he was about to go in his office, he heard something click. In his mind, he's thinking, well, maybe it's one of his deacons or trustees. It was a homeless person who had literally run in the church, run in this man at Pastor Warren's church, ran in. When he ran in, Pastor Warren said something in his mind just quickened. And he was like, something's off. And just so happened as he was thinking that, the guy cut across. So at this point, he not knowing what to do. He's strapped. Thank God he didn't react in a way, and he, did what he had to do, reached out to law enforcement. They finally came, and the gentleman finally, he had run on out of there. But the point is, he took me behind the creek bank. This is just how bad the squatting is. These people had pitched a tent behind New St. James Church. They had to literally start cutting their power off to the church, Benny. Listen, make it make sense. Listen, people say they're homeless and you taking a picture. They were using these folks' powers, running their own barbershop game, cutting hair for their own circle. But behind this church is a creek bank. Yeah, that's where they go and they bathe in the creek bank and they sleep behind the church. So I have video today where I filmed. Gentleman had just got in there. He's butt naked. The woman on her way to get in the pool. Make it make sense, everybody. So these are issues that should be addressed. But I want to say one thing, Ben, if you would allow me, because this DJ one day says, well, this is what amazes me with some folks. Well, you have to give people time to fix it. You don't have to give people time. Listen, 8 years is enough. Y'all remember that 8 is enough? Well, 8 years is enough. And I wouldn't care who the mayor is. I have no problem with anybody in administration. I have stood, I have protected, I have looked out for those that are in this administration. That is not it. I am just tired of seeing this city go down, all because certain folks want to latch elbows, act like they are crabs in the bucket, because they can roll around or be in some type of circle. You know how it works around here, but you drag everybody else. Make it make sense and stop coming for me, because this ain't what you want.
Ooh, look at it. You know, snap, bud.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna leave. I ain't gonna, okay.
You know, yeah, it's foolery. And then I do want, because I think someone has a question about that body cam, and I want to answer that question.
Okay, hold on. You got a question over that side?
Yes, sir, I do, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Good evening,
Hold
Mr. Van. It's a pleasure to meet
on
you.
1 second. Barbershop Stories podcast, episode 137. We're sitting here with State Rep, Wonderland Van Nate, Warrior candidate. Now back to you, Rob.
Thank you. Ma'am, I would like to ask you a question, because I was listening to the radio this morning and this afternoon, and they was discussing this incident that happened in Homewood, where a young man was at the park with his girlfriend, I think, and got into an altercation with the police department over there. Policeman ended up shooting him. Guy died, and now the family said that we want to look at the body cam. We want to see what happened to our child. What is being said now is that now they don't have a right to that video because of legislation that came from Montgomery, and they say that you're responsible for that legislation. Could you explain to us how that legislation happened, where the parent cannot have that video? Thank you.
First of all,
thank
you for asking me that question. And I want everybody on this live, on this podcast, to come closer. Ignorance is bliss, and ignorance of the process and the law make it make sense. I have been answering this question since well in advance of Tyre Nichols in Memphis. Listen, make it make sense. HB 289, and I want y'all to pull it, because there was a radio show last year, 2 years ago, when this bill passed. For a whole week, they went on a rant and just ran it. Folks calling in. Now, you read the caption of a headline, but you didn't read the article. I sponsored, and I am proud that I sponsored HB 289. Let me tell you what HB 289 is. HB 289 is body cam. We had never had body cam. We had tried for many, many years to get body cam into law here in the state of Alabama. Well, coming off even the heels of George Floyd, I had a number of gun bills prior to that, body cam. The Republicans, we are in a red state, beyond red. The Republicans have a super majority over us. Every time we attempted to move body cam, I had sponsored it in for a full delivery package that said that people, whoever, whether it be the media, whether it be radio, whether it be just the everyday ordinary person, we ought to make it a part of public record, and everybody should have it. Well, the bill never, ever moved. They wouldn't even hold a quorum in committee, Benny. You know how political the issue of body cams is. We finally, during the time of Tyre Nichols, we were able to negotiate. We don't pass major legislation like that unless there is a consensus amongst with the minority leader, our caucus, and we band together, because it's hard to move legislation in Montgomery, especially with anything that they feel that may impact Black people. Well, one of the problems as we talk to people and families, A lot of the family said, if we can at least, as a representative of the family, see the body cam, be able to see it, even if we can't always go in, ascertain and take a copy of it, if we could see it. A lot of work went into it from the Sheriff's Association, from the District Attorney's Association, the Chiefs Association, the Attorney General's Office. We had the District Attorney Association. Listen, Black people, white people, and Democrats alike, a lot of them agreed that it may not be in the best interest. We wouldn't be able to get the bill out, but if we can get the bill out so the family members can at least make a petition to see the footage, we are going to get it out, and we're going to come back and tweak it, because some things down in Montgomery, if not all of these families that you've been seeing and you're hearing about, like this young man, they wouldn't even be, the family members would not have been able to see it. We agreed, we reached the consensus, we got the bill out. And I am proud to say that in many instances in this state, and this is where I'm going to educate the public, I have friends that are defense attorneys, and we deal with discovery rule 26 under the civil procedure here in the state of Alabama. That's discovery. That's where you request to see footage. You request that. The issue, and this is what the public needs to know, families are seeing the videos. Perkins' family saw the video. The gentleman out of Mobile, their family saw, but let me tell you how they saw the video. I received a call and I was asked to enlighten them on the process. Well, they had been going to the city council. They had been going to the different meetings, reaching out to the mayor, and they were denied. So when I was asked to enlighten them, Wandalyn Gavan, I said, first of all, follow the law. Ask for it in writing under the petition that you have to submit to the custodian of record. Make it make sense. So with that being said, no, I did not pass something to say no, that nobody can. It's just that you cannot get it in your hand. And let me tell you why. Certain lawyers, certain people who know how this stuff really works. And I have defense friends that are defense attorneys, and I'm closing this one out, but this is important. Could you imagine if anybody who wants body cam can just walk into a public place, request it? Because let me tell you something, Mr. DJ, and you know who I'm talking to. If that were the case, and I shared this with this gentleman about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but you know they don't ever want to listen, Benny. Y'all, to the listening audience, if we had body cam where anybody could get it last year, y'all know the young man, Mr. McDaniels, that is accused of killing all of these folks in Birmingham. It would have been a bloodbath. Because when you just turn over the possession of body cam, anytime you get ready, that means you can go in, Benny, get it. It could have a child's face on there. It could have an unintended consequence of somebody being in the scene or being in that area on tape, who may be considered to be a witness or believed by a killer to be a witness. And that person would be able to just walk into a public place, request the body cam, and move. The body cam, and when there are big issues, it's not about that it's just the family. It's the lawyers who want the body cam so they can try to put a case in chief together or to see if there is any money. Make it make sense. So I am proud of that legislation, and I'm proud of the Democratic Party for the state of Alabama. Thank you, Anthony Daniels. Thank you, Democratic Party. Thank you, Bobby Singleton. Thank you, Senator, all of the senators that signed off. We passed that bill proudly. No, it didn't do everything we wanted, but make it make sense. And today I was interviewed, Benny, by 42 about this same issue because they understand the importance of what I did. So we talked about it, but this family is making petition in Homewood. Make it make sense. I have spoken with one of the representatives for the family, and the city of Homewood has said they are going to let them see the body cam. Make it make sense. Stop reading the headlines and read the story.
Just a follow-up to that, and that is also said that the police department has the right to deny the family seeing the video. Listen,
if you're something in law, if they are the custodian of record. Yes. Even if you made a petition and said that if and this is what I want y'all to hear. even if the bill had said they could outright give it to them, that bill would have had some exceptions, and those exceptions would have been left up to the custodian. It goes back to what I just said. If it was a situation where there was a witness, there's a witness that they could not necessarily obscure. There could have been a child. It could taint the evidence. And again, my friends that are defense attorneys, they make this argument regarding Rule 26 all the time. But at the end of the day, our goal was to at least allow the family members to see it. And at some point during discovery, before that trial, they will have possession. The lawyer will have it because they were requested in discovery, and there's a process.
Thank you.
Put it in writing.
Put it in writing, and it's simple. And go through the right process. Listen, over 90-something to 100% of the municipalities now are turning over allowing families to see body cam. I had a client just a few weeks ago came in. Listen, and I'm so glad when he came in, something clicked in my head. He came in and told me a municipality had 13 or 14 officers on top of him. He got stopped for a DUI. Something clicked in my head to call and say, "Look, can I see that body cam?" I'm glad that I did. And then he said there were no black officers, but the officer who stopped him was black. And it was only one other officer, not 13. Make it make sense.
So it can work.
But what does that, this is what I want to know. What does that have to do with me being the mayor of the city of Birmingham? That's what I can't get.
Well, this is what I think it will have to do with it, because I think a lot of people, being in the barbershop, we are true barbers here. That's just the name of the podcast. People ask a lot of questions because I think people have been bullshitted so much over the years. So whenever they see the incumbent and new candidates that's running, I think they just want to ask different questions and see where they stand on it. Because my question would be going back what he said off the House bill, what the House bill, what
280. I think it was 289. Listen, I passed so many bills, I can't remember all the numbers, so I think it's 289.
I think sometimes, and this is just my opinion based off what I hear in the barbershop and different people around the communities, when they think about politicians that was elected, like let's just say that bill and how you explain that here, I think some people be wanting to hear you explain it to them or make it public that, hey, look, we're still pushing on this bill, but this is why it won't pass. And then, in my opinion, it kind of take the pressure off you. Because when the people elect you, they say, look, her, regardless of what they know totally about it, they're looking at the people who they can see and who they can touch. So they just want clarity. It's kind of like with the streets not being paid, and the number from a guy that works for the city said there was 3,000 employees prior to the pandemic, and now it's about 500. Why is that happening? Why, people don't say, hey, look, this is what's going on. We're going to get to you, but it's a shortfall and we got to hire for it. I think people just want to hear it explained so they can at least be comfortable with what's going on, because we know things take time, but to just sit in the dog and then just whatever, and they see stuff happening, I think that's why people... And
I respect that, but this is the thing I have a problem with. If you're on your show talking about HB 289, call me, but don't keep for 2 years going over the same lie, and it is a lie. And if I sit down and I say, call the minority leader for the House of Representatives, and it is in black and white, ProPublica came down and interviewed me about a year ago. First of all, it was a feat to get the bill passed, period. Again, we are in a super minority. This is something that is helping people. The Clark family in Tuscaloosa, we represented this young man who was killed year before last. We had to go in and request the body cam. So we went in, council, we sat there. And then most of these municipalities will, even if they don't let you take it, they will let you see the body cam as many times, Benny, as you want to see it. They are not going to move in the state of Alabama to allowing it to just be public that you receive body cams. I know y'all want us to hear that, but listen, who is it for? The question is, if we're satisfying many of the families and we understand that they want, hey, listen, I'm about making my coins. Listen, and I want everybody to, but at the end of the day, we have to be practical in the things that we do. But I wanted to say one more thing, because when you said that about just knowing, the problem I think I have with it, and I'm glad the viewers are on, is this. I'm being asked about legislation dealing with body cam. I'm being asked about my qualifications I'm being asked about what knowledge I have of the city of Birmingham. The city of Birmingham 8 years ago, I want y'all to hear me, hired somebody, gave the key, the biggest key to the city to someone who had never supervised, who had never administrated over anything or anybody, who was a young practicing attorney. I was a public defender. I did contract work with legal aid. I sat in front of this particular CEO of the city for 4 or 5 years. Listened to every hope, every dream, every meeting. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. This person ran for office, school board, take over. It's a whole lot. But nobody asked this young man anything about qualifications, about being an administrator. Where I am an administrator, I have supervised and I supervise now. At the end of the day, make it make sense with the level of qualifications that I have. I just said Kenworth Trucking.
Tell them about it.
Go up down Finley Avenue and see that multi-million-dollar development along Finley Avenue, for which we did eminent domain on. We did so many things to bring this company to Birmingham. Yes. Did you hear what I said? Lily from the block. Listen, Eddie Kendrick Park. For those of you all who are so young that may not remember, Eddie Kendricks was one of the greatest singers with the Temptations. Grammy Award winning from the Ensley area. Okay, make it make sense. Not only that, the Hope 6 development downtown, where we tore down Central City and rebuilt it. Now it's Park Place. The Ensley Brickyard. For those of you all on here, y'all may not remember the Ensley Brickyard, but it's called Tuxedo Terrace now. I helped write the grant, and then I administrated over each one of those projects, which was $160-something to $180 million development. The environmental court for the city of Birmingham, which is being underutilized now. Wonderland Gavan, that was my project when I worked in Richard Arrington's office. The creation thereof and what you see now, I'm not sure, but that was Wonderland Gavan. The privatization of the zoo. We entered into an intergovernmental relationship with other municipalities, Mountain Brook, Vestavia, Wonderland Gavan. That was my project. So for those who ask, what have I done for the city of Birmingham? And then I have to justify legislation. Not all legislation is going to be perfect. It's not going to, if you're not going to satisfy everybody. But with regards to my qualifications, I simply close on that note with this. For the last 4 years, it was Wonderland Gavan standing up to this issue of crime by myself. Nobody else that is running. I don't care what office they have held. I don't care what position they are in. I don't care if they preached at a church, whatever they have done. Nobody took on the establishment in City Hall but Wonderland Gavan, me. No one said it is enough with the killing. No one called out the fact that Birmingham only has 300 and something sworn law enforcement officers but me, by myself. Nobody else stood up to this administration. Nobody else had a meme done of them last year that said everybody in Jefferson County supports public safety except you. And my face was put in the center of a board as a target. That's targeting. That was one of the most dangerous things that this CEO could have done, by putting my face dead center when you have people who do nothing on the streets but kill. Last year was Birmingham's deadliest year. 150 something people died. Since 1933? Since 1933. Make it make sense. Do you know how many Mother's Day just passed? Listen, and Father's Day. To sum it up, 1,000 people have died in the course nearly of this 8 years. That means 1,000 mothers lost their child. 1,000 fathers lost their child. 1,000 grandparents and great-grandparents. I don't care how bad Ray, Boo Man, Kiki, Keisha, May, everybody has one. Pookie is. That's still somebody's child. And every day I walk the streets of Watasha Carter. How many times have you heard Sergeant Watasha Carter's name mentioned by the Birmingham Police Department since he died? Make it make sense, everybody.
All right, let me ask you that. We got a bunch of questions, and I definitely want to ask you some questions because we had some fan questions that came in too. You got fans of Wonderland Gavan, old Lee. All right, now this is one question I want to ask. I know you mentioned about privatizing the Birmingham Zoo. So with the city being a city that has assets and they profit also off those assets, what benefit was it to the city to privatize?
Because if not, we probably would have lost it. It was a lot that went on then, and for that particular situation, for the zoo to grow, we needed that. Dr. Arrington felt that it was best, also with the amount of monies that those municipalities and with the intergovernmental agreement that was had, and that's a difference versus the privatization of all of these jobs, of sending all of these city jobs. I was in a meeting, and I'm glad you asked that because I want to bring clarity to that. We're seeing so much privatization now with the city. I was in a meeting. I was in the Bush Hill neighborhood meeting. And last night, there were some folks from the city who came in to tell the people in Bush Hill that they are going to be recommending native grass to be put down in Bush Hill and throughout the communities, because Birmingham is getting into a position where they are going to stop hiring. They are going to stop hiring people because the manpower and the cost of manpower is too great. Make it make sense. Native grass, for those who all don't know, is, oh yeah, this was at a meeting last night. I have it in black and white on camera. They came and they did a presentation. I think they had a meeting at the Crossplex. It's called Native Grass. Let me tell you what it looks like. If y'all ever been to Railroad Park, go to Railroad Park, because that is what it looks like. So at the end of the day, I couldn't believe that somebody literally said that this municipality is getting out of the hiring business. They're going to cut down on manpower. Wait a minute. I said at that moment, wait, because I don't want to believe it, Benny Mac. Why? I work for the street department. And let me add one other thing. I work for the street and sanitation department. I put myself through law school working on the back of a brush truck, working on the back of a garbage truck. Then I started driving brush. Started driving brush. Then I started driving garbage. I started driving the litter truck. And then I got my own. I worked in the Ensley district, Bush Hill, Ensley Flats. Oh my God, Ensley Flats. Jesus Christ, it's never ending in Ensley Flats. Oh, all that area, Bev. I mean, all over. So, and I'm proud of that. I was able to put myself through school. I had benefits. And at that time, Birmingham had over 1,200 public works employees. Birmingham now, and it was Street and Sand. Then they changed the name to Public Works. But the realization is they only have somewhere now between 400 and 500 people. Even if you privatize this city, you're going to have the manpower and get this city cleaned up. The garbage service now is they do once a week instead of twice a week. You have people putting garbage in cars because they have so much trash because there's not a twice a week pickup. So people are putting garbage in cars. You're seeing an influx of rats and mice throughout the Birmingham city neighborhoods. People are
I ain't mean to interrupt.
No, but
that's something we talk about all year.
But this is what's going on at this meeting. This lady, an elderly lady, spoke at the Bush Hill meeting last night. She said that even just in her alleyway, she said the rats are so common now. Instead of running, they walk. And she said, gophers. She said they walk in the yard as if they live there. Make it make sense.
Eat down, sleep down.
We have neighborhoods that are barricaded right now. The question is, what are we doing with these contracts? Who are we giving these contracts to?
So that's what I want to ask before you got too far off it. Because I know it's like, I am a resident of Birmingham. I've been cutting hair here in Birmingham for a long time.
Forever.
I spent Southeast Lake. And I noticed when they switched up the trash and they went from 2 days to 1 day. And they said the lid ain't always shut. I done have them come by there and literally leave trash out there. Now you talking about people putting trash in cars. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So people putting home, you ain't got a lock on. I'm seeing between the house.
People are putting trash. This is an urban city, and this is the logic. Even just to listen to the folks that was explaining about the native grass, I'm sitting up here saying, first of all, y'all have barricaded a whole freaking. You mentioned East Lake. Y'all have literally barricaded. And this is the worst part about it. You have one or two people who are close to the administration and say, oh, well, it ain't stopping no crime.
No.
A barricade cannot stop anybody, but the folks trying to get in as it relates to the fire department, the first responders,
Mhm.
Amazon, people who trying to figure out how to navigate. Listen,
And actually, that actually has been a problem that nobody's addressed. See, like that start on 68th Street. This is I am from that area. If you start from 68th and it stop at 77, I stay on 79 between 79th and 80th. So the barricades are between there, and actually, people have died.
they have died because the ambulance.
couldn't get there.
Because
It's terrible. It looked a little bit like
it's a
Beirut.
prison, and then what they do.
Called the East Bay, but it's turning to Beirut with them barricades.
It's pitiful.
Lower property value.
Listen, I have a guy, I can say his name, Ken Crittenden. Ken don't be mad, but he cuts grass over there. Ken called me one day. He said, Wonderland, he said, it took me so long to get to my client's house. He said, if I just didn't need the corn since it's grass season, he said, I would just have abandoned it. He said, because it takes so long to circle and navigate. I left a funeral at the Star, and I was trying to beat the procession on out. Why did I do that? I had to meet Rick Jackson and some other folks that were coming in to talk about the campaign. Listen, I know they thought I was lying. It took me so long to get back to the office. It took me over an hour to loop around because every street I went to, I'm thinking I'm out. I'm in front of a barricade with happy faces and smiling faces on it. Make it make sense. Then you're going to dare decorate it. Like, you got people in prison. You have more traps there than they have in prison. Listen, it is a barricaded city. And listen, so then you'll say, well, the neighborhood. Listen, everybody know how some of those relationships go. The bottom line is this: you should not have to be a community. The reason is because you should have enough sworn law enforcement officers. So people in these, like, let me tell y'all why you have the barricades. You have the barricades because the city of Birmingham does not have enough sworn officers. So that is used as a deterrent because there's not enough sworn officers, Benny, to police these areas. So they started putting these barricades. They didn't put them up on the west side because they already know that would have been a real problem. But it's amazing they didn't put it up on the west side, Benny. Guess what? The west side has always been the largest side in the city of Birmingham. It is over the 50% of the population is on the west side. Close to 70% of the crime is on the west side. This is black and white. Birmingham is now the number 4 city in the state. Because of the census, we are behind Huntsville, Mobile, Montgomery. Huntsville, Mobile, and Montgomery. So we're number 4. That means the federal funding now goes to Huntsville first, second to Mobile, then Montgomery, and Birmingham gets what's left. Make it make sense, everybody. These are things y'all don't know. So when folks are saying, oh, no, at least when they inherited this city, the city was number 1. What are we number 1 for? Crime? Make it make sense. So my whole thing is to deal with this crime issue. Listen, and I want to work with the Birmingham police officers. I have a lot of officers that reach out to me. Thank you all for what y'all do. Now, I know some people say, defund the police. I say absolutely not. We're going to do what we can to keep police working. We need the police because for everybody who has said that, the first person you call when something go on is who? Besides Jesus.
Police?
The police. Don't y'all just get that 38 out. But the police. But at the end of the day, our officers are overworked. They're tired. Benny, you have officers coming here. They tell you the stories. They're sick and tired. They're overworked. They're working shifts.
So they're underpaid.
They underpaid. They overwork, and then there's just not enough manpower. And then every time you look around, oh, we're hiring. We had our largest rookie class. That may be 20 people, 29. And then those classes are now split because some of them are going to fall off for different reasons. Then they have an opportunity to come back and make it up. This stuff is factual. I don't care who your friend is. It's factual stuff that I'm giving. But certain DJs want to keep saying, well, oh, she don't know. I know. I'm in rooms that you don't even know about. I'm sitting down when all of these things are being discussed. I'm sitting down from the governor's office, from offices in the state house with leaders. Listen, I am never going to spit a fact that I cannot back it up. And that is the worst part about it. And that's why I'm feeling a certain kind of way, because I have been so targeted these last few days. But hey,
Okay, well,
make it make sense.
all right. Barbershop Stories, the podcast, episode 137. We're sitting with State Rep Mayoral candidate Wendell Van, and we also have another question. Sir, in the back, you have a question?
Yes.
Yeah, stand a little close so they can hear you. Come on a little close.
Yes.
Come on a little close. Come on a little close. All
Good
right.
evening.
All right.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Look at that. That was fat too, though.
Well, the hell.
There has been for a number of years an influx of transitory people coming into the city of Birmingham and sleeping on the streets and demanding increased city services. If you elected mayor, how would you address this problem?
Listen, we had
Thank you
gone.
for your question, too.
First of all, thank you for your question. Listen, homelessness. The question is, why is Birmingham such a transient city now? I think people need to ask that question. The question needs to be asked and answered, I think, just me, in this way. It's a transient city because it's a free-for-all. It's central. And as I have been going out to talk with people, they say, hey, nobody's going to bother us. The police won't bother us. The police says nothing they can. Listen, this is what these folks are saying. I'm talking to the homeless. I'm talking to these folks as they transition. I'm talking to them as they're standing outside the service station begging. I'm talking to these prostitutes and these women who are standing outside of churches, just like St. John, right up from the 16th Street Baptist Church. I have been taking video footage where Johns are coming up, picking up prostitutes, because it is a free-for-all. 3rd Avenue, 4th Avenue, if y'all go up down that strip,
First, too.
First, it's all over. Somebody called me and say they used to only prostitute on 4th or something back in the day. I remember that when I was a little bit of kid. Y'all too young for that. But at the end of the day, people are sick of that. The first thing you got to do is enforce the laws. But also, again, we have school buildings, and that may become an issue, but we've got to look at somewhere for these people to go. All winter, they slept outside the Boutwell. It was like sardines in a jar, in a can, all winter long. It's unacceptable. Lynn Park is eaten up. Kelly Ingram Park. That place should be treated as holy ground. It looks like a war zone. The grass is so eaten up. It's like little BBs all over Kelly Ingram and Lynn Park. From the fountain, East Lake Park, it is pitiful. But we're going to address those issues. How do we address them? As I said, we're going to get the right social service agencies that are in the city of Birmingham. We're not going to contract with folks that are all the way in California, in this state. We're dealing with the homeless crises here in Birmingham. Are you telling me we don't have anybody in Birmingham that has sense that can address the homelessness? We can't figure out a better way of processing these shelters. But I believe the first step is going to be law enforcement working to get the people off the street, get them out the alleyways. We're going to break up all of these huts in these small tent cities, because it's a danger not only to them, but to others. It's a danger to them. And then we're going to work with the Veterans Association. We're going to build a better relationship with them, because you have people for all walks of life. Again, people who have been in the military. You have people who have been abused. You have people who are domestic violence survivors. Listen, we've got to figure out something, but there has to be a conversation where you better the community and supportive services. But if the people know that you are serious, Benny, if you are serious about the crime and that you're serious about cleaning these streets, just like the word spread that Birmingham is like a country without a president, it will spread that there is a new sheriff in town and they are not playing, and they're going to get these people off the streets. Make it make sense. If I am elected, I'm representing the people, not just one base of people. So for the social workers out there who say, oh, I put a camera on a prostitute and she has mental illness. I don't know if she has mental illness or not, but what I do know she had in her hand was a crack pipe. She had enough sense to smoke that dope. Make it make sense. So I do know that. And she had enough sense to proposition me as well as others. So make it make sense. I know I'm not a bad looking girl now, even though y'all said I look like Mayor Woodbine off of P Valley. We still coming.
Say we still come. That's what's up.
All right, you got another question, sir? Oh yeah, come on a little closer. This is Barbershop Stories podcast, episode 137.
Y'all, I'm in here with all these men.
Okay,
He's
Mr.
right.
Mayor. African Americans are 70% of the population of the city of Birmingham. Birmingham spends tens of thousands of tax dollars annually to upkeep Legion Field, whereas the citizens do not have a cultural arts museum, not even a center to explain and highlight the plight of its people. Your thoughts?
First of all, Birmingham is
Thank you for your
almost,
question.
thank you again. Birmingham is almost 75% black minority, period. 75 versus 20, 26%, 25%, give or take, of others. 75. It never has stopped being a majority black city. Make it make sense. I'm not that necessarily that big on Roland Martin, but there's something Roland Martin said. Somebody sent me this footage. Marilyn Lewis sent this to me the other day. Then other folks started sending it. He was speaking in Memphis. Did you see it? And during the conversation, what he said was, he said he cannot understand how the people of Memphis, when Memphis is 67% majority black, continue to live in apartheid, economic apartheid, social apartheid. Make it make sense. There should be more dealing with the arts in our community. I'm big on the arts. I think we need more in our public schools, not just a standalone arts facility, but look at our Civil Rights Institute. I'm going to take it a step further. The Civil Rights Institute of Birmingham needs an upgrade. It needs to be updated. It needs to be modernized. There needs to be more technology in place. We need all of those things in place. So for me, I'm going to be working with various organizations. People are reaching out to me about all types of ideas. I think we need to have something here to deal more with our heritage here in Birmingham, not just the Civil Rights Institute, but we ought to have a facility that if somebody wants to have an event, that it is geared more culturally towards what we as a people have gone through within the city of Birmingham, especially because I just mentioned Kelly Ingram Park. Why are we not treating Kelly Ingram Park like it matters? This is, yes.
Let me tell you why. For me, being a long resident of Birmingham, is because it's not owned by black people. The Civil Rights Museum is not owned by black people. So quite naturally, they're not going to put the real true story out there. They're going to speak from their behalf. Remember when they denied Angela Davis? Mm-hmm. Now, what person who was of melanation would deny Angela Davis? That right there let me know who owned it at that time. So the stuff we're looking for culturally is not going to happen because it's not. The
Civil Rights Institute has a board, but even with that, I go back to this. Just like folks talking about the number of votes. Well, the white folks going to decide the election. It goes back to the question. Birmingham is still 75, at least the bare bone minimum of 75% black. Make it make sense that you're telling me that there are not enough black people out of 75%. That means 100 and close to 140 something thousand people out of 196,000 folk are people with melanin in their skin. Make it make sense.
Why do you think a lot of those people don't come out to vote?
Well, voter apathy, and it's unfortunate, and I'm glad you're mentioning that, asking that question. A lot of the last election, 4 years ago, people had asked me to run. I did not run. This is public. I said I would not run. Other folks had gotten in the election. Mm-hmm. Once you start making a race so top heavy, the people feel like they don't have anyone to choose from, hope. Their interest, unfortunately, they should be voting. But what happened in the last election, Benny, is this. There were only 30-something thousand, I think, total votes total. The incumbent received about 25,000 of those votes. The other was split between one of the individuals that is in the race. I never call my opponents' names, as well as I will say this former Mayor Bell was also one of those opponents. I think one candidate had 7,000. He had 9,000. At the end of the day, the incumbent won by about 60-something% of the vote. It wasn't because, it's just so the white people. It's just the black folks that are at home. So I want to say this to the black folks. Y'all need to get y'all butts up And y'all need to go vote. Stop complaining. Now, if you like what you have, you keep it. If you want to keep calling City Hall with no response, you keep it. If you want to keep living in dilapidation, then you keep it. My mama taught me that love is what love does. If a man won't clean you, won't feed you, won't clothe you, won't put you in a safe environment, he does not love you, he or she. Make it make sense, Birmingham. If you always do what you always done, you're going to always get what you always got. At the end of the day, get your butt up on August 26th. Get out here and go vote. Make it make real sense and stop using this scenario. Oh, the white people. The white people have never outnumbered the black people in the city of Birmingham, not to this day. 140-some thousand black folk. Make it make sense to 20-some thousand, 30-some thousand white people and others. Make it make sense, Birmingham. Stop leaving yourself in racial apartheid, voter suppressed apartheid, all this stuff. And if y'all don't know what that is like you segregating yourself and keeping yourself held hostage in discrimination and allowing yourself to be used. Stop allowing yourself to be pimped out by a process.
Okay. Well, we got a couple more questions for you before you leave, because
this is good. I was late. I'm gonna give it to you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Now, this gentleman here asked this question here. He said, "What is your comprehensive plan to ensure that most underserved residents of Birmingham receive targeted economic support and public resources, including job training, small business investment, housing assistance, and access to essential services?"
Listen, woo, thank you, Jesus. Listen, I love that question because a little birdie just made me, because I'm rolling out my plan tomorrow. CPR, Birmingham is on life support. Birmingham needs resuscitation. CPR, crime. And I'm going to roll it all in.
Okay.
C, to combat, control, conquer. P, people protection and progress. Our neighborhoods to reinvest, rejuvenate, and revitalize. And in some areas, restore. Restore the public trust. Restore a level of confidence that the services that they are deserving of, those 7 key essential services, that they get. Rent stabilization. The rent in Birmingham is too high. You have a lot of seniors in Birmingham, but the rent is so high, it is making it very difficult for seniors to live. We need to sit down to do a constructive moratorium on rent. It is time. I know a lot of y'all are worried about, the short-term leases. Listen, I'm for free enterprise, but I am also for our seniors and people and young people and anybody to be able to at least live comfortably. But if you're paying $1,000, almost $1,500 for a 2-bedroom in certain neighborhoods, and you walk out the door, the grass next door to you is this high, make it make sense. We need to deal with rent stabilization here in the city of Birmingham. It is time. Listen, my plan for restoring these neighborhoods. Look at Ensley. Look at Pratt. We're still dealing with the Ensley Ramsey McCormick building. Listen, I started that project when I was in the mayor's office. Make it make sense. Let's find out where the money is from that developer. If they said they were going to put the $25 million down, why is the municipal office not built? Yes, they built the amphitheater, and that's a beautiful facility, but we need many amphitheaters throughout our cities. There's enough funding out there. The city's commitment or participation with the civic center, the amphitheater, the city gave $5 million, the county gave $5 million, the civic center authority gave $5 million, and then they financed the other 30-something million for the construction of the amphitheater. We need small mini amphitheaters. The closest we get to that is One Pratt Park, which they still never really finished that. It's supposed to have a water component. We need green spaces. We need to work with folks who come into this city, sir, who want to do business with the city of Birmingham. You need to hire city of Birmingham residents first. At least put it as a first option. There's nothing to say that you can't at least offer first to the city of Birmingham. I didn't say mandate, but you can offer it. Mayor Arrington started that before he left. I'm not sure what happened with it, but if a company wants an incentive from the city of Birmingham, surely they ought to be able to at least give the first right of refusal to our residents or some type of job training or entrepreneurship for our young students, our young kids, some kind of vocational training. Listen, people talk about our kids, and I'm closing. I want to touch on this. Our kids, they say our kids are so bad. No, we have kids. If y'all didn't watch that documentary where the young man said, where one of the young boys a few months ago, y'all saw that documentary where they were highlighting the gangs and stuff like that. And one young man said, this place eats young people alive. Mm-hmm. Tell me where they had to go, Benny. Mm-hmm. Look at the community centers. Look, the money we're investing in one fund center, we could have used that to reconstruct or redevelop some of these community centers that are not that big, but we could have put technology, even if it was $500,000 per community center. Make it make sense. These are common sense.
Closing.
They're closing. The walls are crumbling. Listen, it is terrible. East Lake Park used to be one of the places when I used to leave school, skip school. We would go out to East Lake Park. So at senior skip day, make it make sense. Some of y'all remember senior skip day, but at the end of the day, make it make sense. The bathrooms at East Lake Park are deplorable. I was over in Kingston the other day. So my plan, same way, a big tire this big as this table in the center of the field that the kids use for football. Listen, and then we're going to restructure. All of a sudden, there was a rollout since I started raising hell to deal with the youth sports, where you have these young men out here who love these children, who do nothing but try to come together to coach. That you have these young ladies who serve as the cheerleading coaches. Well, we're basically stripping that from them because it's the city's intent not to do anything with these parks. I'm just going to tell y'all what it's all about. I'm just going to tell you the truth. It's their intention not to do anything with these parks. They do not care about helping these commissioners over the youth football programs throughout the city of Birmingham. And then all of a sudden, there's a grand rollout. So to close it out, what am I going to do? We're going to work on rent stabilization. We're going to work on environmental justice for our neighborhoods. We're going to redo or restructure the environmental court. And it's going to be a court that really, truly operates to hold people accountable for the filth, for nastiness, for not following the laws with regards to brush, trash, litter, and debris. We're going to also create a NAP program, NAP, N-A-P-P. My program is going to be simple. We're going to re-incentivize our neighborhood associations. We can say whatever we want to say about this and that. If you do not have strong neighborhood association and involvement, you do not have a successful city. Why? You have to. You're going to have to revitalize these neighborhoods, but also let these neighborhood officers know that they matter. Thank them for what they do, but also make them a part of a process. We're going to start a program called NAP. That is going to be the Neighborhood Association Partnership Patrol. What is that? We're going to have those individuals who choose to. We're going to have a program built. I think they're doing it, if I'm not mistaken, in Georgia. I didn't get all of this from Georgia. Somebody told me they were doing it. I was thinking about my own creation from it. But we're going to incentivize these neighborhoods. And we're going to build a program off of NAP where we're going to have boots on the ground. We're going to have eyes. We're going to have residents that have the blinds open, that are paying more attention to the neighborhoods. They're going to be the ones that are truly reporting the problems. And then I'm going to take it a step further with the NAP program. Fridays, I am going to restart what Larry Langford did. And that is every Friday, I will have an open door policy. If it takes to 12 midnight, because 12 midnight will be the end of the night now. But we are going to sit there every Friday. I'm going to make it a very casual Friday for employees inside City Hall. But we are going to listen to the complaints of everyone that comes in that door that wants an appointment to meet with me if I am elected. I will be serving the people. And then I'm going to work with these businesses. And I'm going to say that our Black businesses and mom and pop stores need help. Shop. You should be able to shop where you live. Pratt City and Ensley and West City, these used to be their own cities. Roosevelt City was really a city. Why should people not be able to go into mom and pop stores where they are? With I think what's Jamal Bryant was talking about Target, the boycott. But the problem is you can't stop using Target and Amazon in many instances because we don't have anything in our neighborhoods. Unless you try to figure out how to get to a Walmart, we need to put these buildings back on the roll. We need to open these doors. We need to work with these companies that's coming in to do business to say, you can come into Birmingham, but you need to help revitalize this building. You need to help revitalize. It's a simple process. Many cities do it. Why can't we?
Give us a tidbit on education, on what will happen with it. Because I heard you mention the youth and training and vocational training from these companies that the city invite in. I know we're wrapping up, but give us a tidbit on your thoughts on how would the educational process be upgraded or advanced?
I want to say this, starting out to shoot
all grade levels.
All grade levels. First of all, you have to start. Education starts at the kitchen table. Education starts at the house. I have said this since I started doing public speaking when I went in the legislature. Listen, parents, first of all, must become their children's biggest cheerleader. If you can take time to go on the football field and baseball field, you ought to be able to sit down and work with the parents, the teachers, the tutors for every school system that is great in this country. And I do not care who it is that wants to debate me on it. If there is a strong, and I want y'all to hear these words, if there is a strong parent, principal, student relationship, you have a successful school. We have to get our parents more involved and engaged in school. Also, we must restructure the curriculum of education here in the city of Birmingham. Not everybody's going to school to be a doctor. Not everybody's going to school to be a lawyer. Not everybody's going to school to even be a teacher any longer. But let me tell you something. I had to have a plumber a few weeks ago at my house, $400 an hour. I told that plumber, I said, now whatever wrong here, you better figure it out in the first hour, because I couldn't imagine having to pay another $400 to a plumber. Listen, HVAC, listen, HVAC, $300-400 an hour. Building sciences, we need Huffman is doing an excellent job with their building science. Cosmetology, listen, culinary. These are things that our kids can learn. And guess what? If you put it out there to them, instead of just one or two electives and put it out there to them, guess what? You will hold their interest and their option. Another thing we must do, we must put the arts back in our schools. Performing arts must come back into our school system. Gail Gear, who is a very well-known attorney here, said this. We both represent the Alabama Education Association, so we were in our yearly meeting. Everybody looked at her when she said that one of the biggest erosions of the public school system in the Black community is when they took the arts out. At first, everybody was like, girl, sit down. But as time has progressed, she's absolutely right. She said that was the beginning of the disintegration of the public. Because guess what? What else do we have to look for? That means we are institutionalized. The hopes and the dreams. Denzel Washington, thank God for the Boys and Girls Club of America. He stumbled into one year and it changed his world. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. But the arts, it gives students something else to hope for as they learn. And also, I want to shout out, if you will allow me, Benny, Huffman Middle School. I can't remember the professor's name, the teacher's name over there. But I think he teaches history, but he has a system embedded all over that school. It is pictures of everyone in America who has ever done anything great in America. It's all over the windows, it's all up in the ceilings, it's down the hallway. It's one of the best things that I've ever said. So he said to me, the reason I started doing this, he's an artist, is because not everybody's going to learn the same. And I needed to figure out a structure to put in place to help children who may wander off. I was one of those kids. I daydreamed in school. I mean, I wanted to, at that time, I wanted to be, I don't know who the actresses were, but I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be Thelma off Good Time. Yeah, not necessarily Earth or Lena Horne or, whatever the lady name back in the day. I was real young. But long story short, he has this training technique And listen, it is one of the best techniques. And I want Dr. Sullivan, if anybody listening from the Birmingham school system, to really consider it. But that's one of the things. But we have to figure out mentoring. We need more. Every school in Birmingham should have its own mentoring program for girls and for boys. Why? Because there is an extra layer. Because I want to say this, Benny. We have kids who go to school that may be the only meals that they get. That may be the only meal and love that child gets. We have to be honest. I know there's a push to try to push charter schools, but at the end of the day, we must continue to invest and reinvest, because 20-something thousand kids out of Birmingham City in the city of Birmingham attend public schools.
Yeah, it's a lot of something true. You had a question?
I did, but she already answered most of my questions. I am the president of East Lake Community,
Mm-hmm.
and I like the thoughts that you have there. But as president of the East Lake Community, I'm also president of the Wahoma Neighborhood Association.
Mm-hmm.
Our funds now $2,000 a year.
2000.
Our attendance are way low, and one of the reasons why they're low is because people know this. They say, well, look, you got $2,000 a year that you're working with. What can we do in our neighborhood? In order for us to get people involved in the neighborhood, we got to be able to do some things. Now, I know the neighborhood association meeting is usually around an hour and a half, one night in a month. But no one want to spend that time, waste that time, just doing nothing, just spinning the wheels. If our money is restored somewhat, where we can actually do some planning, where we can actually do some things in our neighborhood, we'll have more involvement in our neighborhoods. And also, as a neighborhood officer, I like what you said about administration, about operating different departments and different things like that. Well, one of the problems that we have as neighborhood officers, that when we call downtown and we talking to somebody in a department, whether it's the person that answers the telephone or the department head, they are so rude and so nasty. Now, when Larry Langford was there, Larry said, we're going yes, sir, and no, sir, I'm all the way to jail. Now, my thing is that when we call down there, because I don't want to just call down there all the time. I want my neighbors to be able to call down there and get respected.
Mm-hmm.
How can I ask them to call down there and they're going to be treated that way? When you get in there, could you talk with the people working down there at City Hall to say, hey, look, when these people call you, talk to them with a degree of respect?
Well, listen, first of all, I ain't going to call and ask them, could they do anything? It's going to be understood. Listen, I am a person. Listen, I'm a round the way girl. I'm that girl that LL Cool J talked about. Make it make sense. I am standing at the bus stop, sucking on a lollipop, bamboo earrings in my ear. These are small. Are these not small bamboo earrings right here? These are a small pair of bamboo earrings. These are small. They're small. They said, oh Lord, but they have. But listen, but seriously, these are. But listen, at the end of the day, everybody deserves to be treated with respect. And I know you're not lying about City Hall, because listen, me as a legislator, I got to where I hated to call, because when you call, you can't even explain to the people what you want before they tell you what you want and what they are not going to do and what they can't do and what you don't want. And you haven't even told them what you wanted. Make it make sense. It's about good customer service, opening those doors up, and then answering the phones. What bothers me, I'm old school. I still go into meetings and I take a pen and a pad. Rick Jackson sitting right here, he'll tell you. Anybody come in my office, I have a pen and a pad, and I'm old school, and sticky notes. I believe that people should answer the phones. Why are you paying public dollars to get an answer machine or a voice message? And then why is the answer always no? I always tell people, don't tell me about the problem. Tell me about the solution. Make it make sense. There's no difficulty about picking up paper. There is no difficulty about street sweeping. There's not rocket science to pick up a picker pile. I've done all of these things. Listen, we need to fix the landfill. That's a subject. You can't even fix the landfill. So we got bad streets, bad customer service, bad broken landfill. And then you have the folks in City Hall telling us the answer is no, no, no. Listen, this administration.
No for certain folks, though.
It's
Some
a
stuff around here just
li-
smooth as a nigga that have lotion.
oh, in
Yeah,
certain
like,
places,
them
listen,
smooth
listen,
shit.
it's some, and listen, and listen, and now since I've been raised in hell, and it was amazing after I rolled my plan out. Go to my website, y'all, gavanformayor.com. I have gotten calls from folks from even in the corporate communities at Gavan. This is one of the best put together websites. I have a full on plan on my website. Make it make sense. But at the end of the day, you're right. It goes back to the shooting that took place at the first of the year down on First Avenue, down by Privilege. They hadn't even gotten open. So when you said that it's certain streets get certain care, well, a shooting took place on the corner of First Avenue. There was a press conference. Oh, everybody had to go down there. They had to have a full-on press conference about a shooting on First Avenue, but nobody did a press conference in Ensley. Nobody has done one in Pratt. No one has done one in West End. Make it make sense. You have 4 people killed. The 4 young men that were killed on Center Street. I used to see those boys every single day. I put my sign in the yard. They gonna party. They had the Alabama football tent up almost year round. They wash cars. Nobody talks about those 4 young men who were best friends. The 4 people that were killed in North Birmingham. In Smithfield, nobody talks about the 4 that were killed in North Birmingham. But then, like you said, it's certain services for other people. But when it's Hush Lounge on the South Side, when it's Hush Lounge on the South Side, but what gets me, Benny, y'all, it bothers me when those people who are out here, they're so quick to criticize me for telling the truth, for spitting facts that can be corroborated, for saying that I'm this and I'm that. But at the end of the day, it was not until Hush Lounge and after I put so much freaking pressure and until I had a meme that made a target of me raised. And I want to tell y'all about that. The meme. That meme was not because I said anything, because I didn't say that the National Guard needed to be in Birmingham. I responded because I had already had that conversation 20 times since May. Sat down with Sheriff Petway. He called an emergency meeting with members of the legislature, then Chief Thurman. He said, listen, we are short on APO certified deputies. I'm not going to be able to extend as much help to Birmingham. And if something catastrophic happens, I want to bring this truth. If anything, Benny Mac, you remember the storm of 2011 in Pratt. He said he used that as a reference point. He said, we will have to have a backup because I won't have the manpower. We were in there and we said only if something catastrophic, we would do no differently than what we did with Pratt. And that is we would bring in or call the National Guard only if it is so bad. And that would be any natural inclination. Well, Greg Garrison, AL.com, he heard it right off the news. I had already talked about it for 3 or 4, 5, 6 months. But it had nothing, the meme had nothing to do with that. The meme had something to do because there was a threat that I would run for mayor. So I got a call one day from the incumbent. I had just broke my foot and I'm tying it in. Talking about services over here versus services over there, not doing something for this person, but this person, because these are questions folks want to know. Well, I got a call. I looked because I had not spoken with the incumbent since 2023. I just had got fed up because I was tired of saying, listen, you're losing too many officers. You're losing the manpower. The crime is going up. Nothing's happened. The morale is low. Being I'm in my office, I have a witness to this. I have a witness, Mr. DJ, to this. So Attorney Reginald McDaniel sitting there, he called this young man, the CEO of the city calls, I'm not Joe Harrison. You're not Kamala Harris. You're not Kamala Harris, and I'm not Joe Biden. I said, well, I know Dr. Lee told me that just shot she gave me was going to make me a little loopy. So I said, hello? Again, Benny, he said, you are not Kamala Harris, and I'm not Joe Biden, and I'm not going to Washington. Well, that's getting close to the CBC. So I said, well, maybe he's talking about the CBC. Finally, some clicked and said, this man that came in called me to get me together. I ain't no chump now. So then I raised up and I said, I don't know if somebody then laid a track of cocaine on the table. I said a few choice words, and you decided to smoke every track. My partner was sitting there. He was edging up because he knew I just came from the hospital. I'm like, what are you talking? I said, you coming for me? I said, you got to be crazy. You coming for me? Make it make sense. This is how I said, long close it out. There's been nothing going on. To sum it up, I had no thought on running for office, but to sum it up, I then said, listen, if you ran, I could run. But if I run, I'm going to run to help the people. I'm going to run, and this is to tie into what you said. I'm going to run. If I decide to run, I would give you the respect to tell you I'm running, number one. You ran against your boss. That's what I said. But if I did run, this is what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I give services to each side. I don't care if you're on the south side. I don't care if you're on the north side. I don't care if you're in Oxmoor. I don't care where you are. Every citizen of Birmingham deserves to be treated with the respect. Every neighborhood, that young man down at Privilege, they were going to shut this man down all because somebody got shot down in what is considered the white area. Make it make sense. All because a black man is perceived to be a thug and a criminal or have criminal activities because someone got shot outside of what used to be Casanova, now Privilege. Dan Crane, one of the great lawyers around here, someone in this administration, or it's alleged from the owner of the building, that the administration came to them and said they did not want him to allow this young man to keep his lease. Make it make sense. That's the kind of stuff that goes on. Who used to be, listen, all of the stuff. So the owner of the building shared this with him. He was shaking in his boots. I told him to start marching. But at the end of the day, if we want to help businesses, it shouldn't matter where it is because somebody can get shot. A bullet doesn't know any address. They don't know any. Listen, make it make sense. But to try to shut this young man down, we should be doing what we can to help Privilege, to help this area. Let's get more police officers, but not just because it's downtown, not because it's on the south side. Listen, I want to say one last thing. Because what I've gotten, and it's such a lie, is that I do not support the chief. That's a lie. I've never said I didn't support this chief. I gave a statement. I was asked to give a statement, and I gave a statement on the hiring of the chief. That's the chief works at the pleasure of the mayor. Bennett, has it changed that they don't? Make it make sense. So I made a statement at the announcement, and I said this could possibly further erode the morale of the Birmingham Police Department. We represent officers. They're our clients. We share confidences. So I have an inside track. I simply said this, and I want to answer this because this has been a question. The first thing that comes up is I don't support a black chief. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Johnny Johnson was black. Annetta Nunn was black. Chief Roper was black. Smith was black. Several others in interim positions were black. The truth of the matter is this administration has had 4 or 5 police chiefs and over 20-something assistant chiefs and deputy chiefs. That's a whole lot of chiefs in 8 years. The reason, one of the things that goes on at the Birmingham Police Department, you can line up 30 officers, and if you line 30 of them, at least 28 will be honest enough to tell you the truth. The morale is so low because there has been a situation in which the last 8 years, the administrator, CEO, has appointed assistant chiefs, has appointed deputy chiefs, has promoted people over officers who have put their lives on the line, blood, sweat, and tears, who have been overlooked for promotions over and over and over and over again, and put these people in place. And this is what I said, and no disrespect to the current chief. He and I had a conversation, and I want to say this one thing. I spoke with him when he first was made interim, but this is what happened, why I made the comment. This chief was promoted to sergeant under this administrator. He never supervised. He was appointed to lieutenant under this administration. He never supervised. They skipped over captain and gave him a deputy chief position, putting him over a whole unit TAC unit and several others about narcotics. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's my brother, my cousin, my boo thing, whatever. What if that's still a word? I don't even know if that is. It is a thing of fairness, and it causes an erosion when you have worked, Benny, 15, 20, 30 years. You have the educational skills and background, but you're overlooked. And now somebody is supervising you who has never supervised, who didn't even become a captain. Make it make sense. That's a first thing called right and wrong. We deal with employee relations. I've represented many employees at the city of Birmingham, so I know the policies. I know the rules and regulations. That's not me hating on someone. That's me stating a fact.
Picking on.
Well, that's what's happening. I know it's been great, but I know we're running out of time. The cameraman over there getting sleepy. They enjoy it, but they running low.
Oh, you get the cameraman gets sleep. That ain't what I heard.
When I say sleep, they got 2% power when they look camera.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because I know my friend over there.
No, they're great. They're great. Look at them.
Justin, I know Justin not getting sleepy.
Yeah, so,
But this was good. I had to give the people what they want now. Make it make sense.
No, we really appreciate you coming because you could have not came. Like when I ran into you, you didn't give me no hesitation. You said, what the date is, you coming. You said, let me check my calendar, but I'm coming anyway. And you came. And we'll appreciate that. And we'll appreciate
I'm going to always come.
And we'll appreciate you talking about
the truth.
What you're going to do from there. As a state rep who's saying, look, I take interest in my city and I want to see it grow. I want to see it do better. We appreciate you coming on. And we can do a part two if you like. This ain't got to be the only time or the last time.
Did y'all hear him?
I'm telling you, it ain't got to be the only time or the last
run it
time.
back. We can run it back.
Just wanna, and I know I kind of got a little long-winded, but these things need to be answered because
all good information.
These are lies that are being perpetrated out there in the street. And the worst part about it, the women. Benny, let me just say this. How many more minutes seconds we have, Mr. Cameraman? Do we have at least 2? The women.
The cameraman said,
what I cannot understand is the women out here talking about how I dress. I'm a bad dresser. I'm a bad girl. Make it make sense. Couture. Okay, and this is my uniform year round because I'm the only person in the office code, so y'all always see me in the turtleneck. That's why. Listen, they talk about how I look. They talk about my lipstick. They talk about my glasses. They talk about how I dress. They talk. Oh my God!
They talk.
Listen, I'm saying to and then some of these girls. One of the girls were on some kind of little restaurant around here. Stop! I always want to tell them stop acting like a groupie. Stop acting like a groupie and be a rock star. Y'all out here saying that I'm out here because the people like listening to me. They ask me to do these lives, Benny. I don't ask them. I'm up at night. I told them last week, I said, y'all must be real bored because at the end of the day, I am trying to go to bed. They message me, Mr. Bear, please do a live. I'm glad to have that effect. Whether I win or not, I will have run a good race. I will have fought a good fight. But to these women out here, a lady called me from California. She didn't even know me. This is when they did the meme. And she said, Ms. Gavan, she said, I want to say something. I spoke with the lady. I think her name was Miss Collins. This is what she said to me. She said, Asian women stand with their own. She said, Spanish women, Latino women, they stand together. Indian women stand together. She said, but for whatever reason, I guess the meme went viral. She said, but the women in Birmingham. And I just said, okay, I'm good for it because I have very thick skin. So when I'm talking about it, it's not that I'm talking about it because somebody has hurt me. It's expected. And just like with some of these radio shows, you spend a whole hour talking about me in your own way. You are the one who went on your Facebook page and made a post that a candidate said that their base does not watch or listen to my show. And I simply said, and I stand by it, being a mag. You're a personality. Everybody don't watch your show, do they? Everybody don't listen to you. Everybody didn't listen to Oprah. They didn't listen to what's his name? Geraldo Rivera, Montel. Make it make sense. You think you are such an authority around Birmingham that your voice is so big that you are the law. When I finished the podcast with the young folks who had done the meme, they came to see me. I mentioned what was going on. They said, what's the name of that show? So everybody is not listening to you. And I've never done anything, even my last election. People came on the drag me. I didn't say not one word. But if I can't answer a question or respond and you get mad, if you're trying to be a real radio personality or a real TV personality, there's one thing you have to be able to do. That is listen, be fair, and take criticism. The reason your numbers are now dropping on that show is because you're not fair. You try to come off and then you bully people. Stop bullying folks. Thank you for not being a bully. You can ask me a tough question, but you don't have to beat me down. You don't have to go on somebody else's show and try to drag me on somebody else's show that's trying to get the straight answer. Stop it. Make it make sense. Come at me whatever you want to come at me with. I have very thick skin, and listen, I used to meet them in the middle of the street to fight. So I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to not be bullied by any man or any woman. If I'm not your choice, don't vote for me. Again, if you love me, you'll do for me. Make it make sense. Go vote August 26th. Go vote, period. 70-some% black folk. Listen, what about Roebuck? What about the east side of town also? These people over here need help. The east side is almost, but all but forgotten, always have been. Make it make sense, Benny Mac. State Representative Wandalyn Lily Gavan, and I would approve this message.
All right, now, Lily,
Bam.
Give me your website.
GavanForMayor.com. CPR. Control, combat crime, and conquer. P,
right.
People Protection Progress and our neighborhoods to reinvest, revitalize, rejuvenate, and Lord, let's reclaim our children. Make it make sense, Birmingham.
It's been a great episode of Barbershop Stories podcast, episode 137 with Wandalyn Lily Gavan.
And I'm going to turn this around so y'all can see him.
Mayoral candidate. And also, I'm going to make one suggestion to you too, Lily. When them folk go to talk about you online, go get the last Mr. Big. And he got a song called Pros.
I like that.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Peace and power.
Barbershop Stories.
Hey y'all, before y'all go out, we're gonna do a part 2 because I may come back and reveal what happened with Birmingham Southern on this show, because I am going to do the big reveal because everybody calling me. And listen, when I tell y'all how stupid it is, make it make sense. So that could be our next show. Thank y'all.
Started from the bottom, now she here.
Started from the bottom, now we all here.
From
Make
the
it
brush
make
truck
sense.
to the garbage truck.
And let me
9
listen,
million.
I gotta shout my
She running
people
for the
out right
big
quick.
seat.
Y'all, my nails look at
That's what's
Carolyn Gates here, telling me to go home my bedtime. Shannon on here. Antonio, thank you for being here.